I'm joined by Saurabh Mukherjea, Marshallese Investment Advisor. Sir, in your research, you spoke about the unusual rise of modern India, complete retaliation. Sir, just want to understand, you said that middle class is struggling, the elite class is growing, and corporate earning in the decade on the downward side, and the gap is also increasing. So how long this will continue and what would be the consequences?
So देखिए, using the government data, right, using the government data on individual income tax returns, it's pretty clear that what we've been able to create successfully in India is a class of super rich people. So individuals with income of 1 crore and more, right, individuals reporting income of 1 crore and more. 10 years ago, उनकी गिनती 40,000 थी, 40,000 10 years ago. That number is now 2,20,000. So करीबन 6x jump in the number of individuals reporting income of 1 crore or more, right? That's what I mean by the elite class. And in the book, in Behold The Leviathan, we've explained that even if you look at corporate tax data, a similar bifurcation is evident between a class of elite companies, करीबन 70,000 elite companies, करीबन 2,20,000 elite families. These are the people who are rocking in India. They're making a lot of money, the businesses are blossoming, they're making money in the stock market, real estate, so on and so forth, right? In parallel, the challenge for the middle classes has been that automation in offices, in banks, in IT services, in factories, automation has taken away a lot of the middle class jobs, and whatever is left of middle class jobs, bargaining power for the middle class has come down. That's obviously had a bearing. Jobs bhi kam hai, bargaining power bhi kam hai. That's had a bearing on middle class earnings, which is why we are seeing the consumption downturn in categories which are middle class centric, जैसे कि first time cars, जैसे कि FMCG, right? So it's a clear demarcation between the mass and the class. Class is doing well, elite is doing well, mass is struggling. Now, how will mass recover? Good news is, if you look at this quarter's earnings, private sector capex plays have done well, which means private sector capex शुरू हो गई है, right? So जैसे कि Cummins reported that genset demand is buoyant. Private sector capex has begun, and I think with a few quarter lag, that would suggest job creation will begin. Thankfully, the IT job creation has already begun. That's evident from the IT companies' reports. Naukri.com के data के तहत job searches and number of employers seeking candidates has also risen. I think it's going to take a few quarters for the job creation cycle to kick into high gear, which will then result in consumption recovering. So, कुछ quarter की बात है. This is not some multi-year crisis.
We have to wait for a few more quarters.
This is a few quarters. This is not a few years that we are looking at a consumption downturn.
And sir, your data shows that now women holding more money in their bank account, your mutual fund investments are also around more than 20% higher for the women. Education enrollment also. So this new cycle has just started, and it will go on for how many years? You have given the example of US and Korea also from 1980 to 2020.
So look, if you were to use the Western societies ka data, where women over the last 30 years have sprinted ahead of men in Western societies in terms of higher education, in terms of jobs, in terms of earnings. If you were to take the Western example, then I think we are just beginning the journey. Beginning the journey where at all levels of the education system, there are more girls studying than boys. The pass rates for women are much higher than that of men, including at university, which means women are ending up getting the best jobs. 2/3 of our economy is services, media, financial services, hospitality. That has no role for brawn, no? It's about demand. Yes. And even to the extent we have a manufacturing sector, 15% of GDP, 15% of GDP is manufacturing. वहाँ पे भी दिमाग का खेल, knowledge intensive manufacturing is what India thrives at, right? So the role for women is growing, and the result of that is, given that they're better educated and they're getting better jobs, RBI data shows that in urban areas, women have more money in the bank than men, and AMFI data is showing that women's mutual fund holdings, average mutual fund holdings of a woman, are around 25% more than average mutual fund holdings of a man. So I think this is the beginning of a female ascendancy, right? In chapter 4 of Behold The Leviathan, we have shown the data as to why women are rising. And I think this is the beginning of a female ascendancy. And the more we toggle our investments towards women-centric consumption, the better I think investors will do.
Yes, sir. And sir, one more thing I want to understand about the 7 southern states which have the population of 1/4 of the country, but taxes by 7 southern states is around 50%. GDP per capita GDP is also around 50%, and after 2 years we'll have the delimitation. So according to you, what can be the consequences going ahead?
So देखिए, delimitation is a political subject. It's also already become a live subject. So basically, just to put it in simple terms, as per the constitution, in 2026, the government of India has to revisit Lok Sabha seat allocation. The current seat allocation was done as per the 71 census. 1971, South India accounted for a third of the population, and South India therefore got 1/3 of Lok Sabha seats as per the 71 census. The next census, from what the government has said, 2025 में census होगा. If as per that census, South's population share is lower, I'm pretty sure it will be. If it's rather than a third, if it's a quarter, then naturally a quarter of Lok Sabha seats will become Southern India. But the challenge in this construct, as you said, is the South accounts for half of GDP, half of tax collections. Will the South happily settle for a quarter of Lok Sabha seats? Perhaps not, and that's why I think over the next couple of years, delimitation will be a very live debate in the boardrooms, drawing rooms, and in the parliament.